For me, it feels a lot smoother and you got a little bit more clarity, and it's like I spent 15 seconds on this plugin. My name's Leroy Clampitt, and I'm a songwriter and record producer. So, listening to this strum cello here. Add bloom. I really like to just turn it up quite a lot, just so I hear what it's doing, and then turn it back down. Just finding frequency I like there because I know I want to boost it. Also like takes away some of the muddiness without even taking any of this out. You could maybe. Just kind of feels a bit darker, and then you get a bit more brightness and energy. Sort of feels like you're in the room with the cellist. I feel like with doing EQ and stuff, a lot of the more vintage VSTs are great because you can sort of put them on and do more broad strokes, and they seem to like ignore some of the more ugly frequencies when you're boosting. But you know, with the more modern plugins, they're just too good and like too detailed, and you can turn up the frequency you want, but you end up getting all the ugly parts of that frequency you don't want. So this one kind of like got more of a vintage characteristic to it, but it's just far more like malleable in a more modern way where you can get to like every frequency. I was in New Zealand. That's where I grew up, playing in bands, doing this thing, writing songs. I studied jazz in university and I loved it, but I also kind of like scraped by with the bare minimum so I could bring my speakers into the practice rooms and stuff on the weekends when no one's around and like conduct sessions, bring gear around to people's houses, recording drums, whatever. Like I was just like obsessed with it. As soon as I graduated, came here for a year and just tried to survive basically. By the end of that, had a publishing deal and a little record deal and been sort of working away here ever since. When I came out here and started working on pop music, I'd sort of like skipped over the basics and started by trying to be as interesting as possible. And it didn't work. The music ended up sounding really bad. I basically like endeavored to take 2 or 3 years to learn from scratch, like basic songwriting. Just like, okay, let's just do 2 chords. 2 simple chords, no fancy like 7s or anything on it. Let's just start with that, and sort of like built it up, and it was quite good, a good foundation. And then as you know, I was figuring that out, the musical landscape started actually getting more musical. The ears have sort of like got used to like more interesting changes and more modulations and stuff like that. And you have artists like Laufey and artists like Ash and even Madison Beer, where harmony is all very like interesting to a point where now it's like perfectly acceptable. Vocal bus is always a hard one because you just don't want to mess it up. You want to get the glue, but it's so hard. You almost don't want to touch it at the same time. I think a lot of the time for me as well, I kind of like to go in open-minded about the sound. Like, I listen to this and it sounds perfectly fine to me. It sounds lovely, but I got nothing to sort of compare it to. So I can pull in a plugin like this, mess around with it for a few minutes. See how it reacts to the sound and what it wants to do. You get a bit more like air from it. And then dial it back. Bypass it and see if it feels better. For me, it feels a lot smoother and you got a little bit more clarity, and it's like I spent 15 seconds on this plugin. And it's like, you know, maybe I'm overcooking it a little bit, but it doesn't sound like I am, which I feel like this amount, even though it's on like 5 out of 10, doesn't really feel like you're smashing it, which I think is so easy to do. So many compressors I've had to like ban myself from using because I just overdo it. Bloom really made it easy to like group my instruments and treat them in their own ways. Being able to change the shape and the tone of something and like give them their own space and identity by taking out certain things and pushing certain things. I just like never really understood how to do that with like any other kind of multi-band compressor, but like this one makes it super easy. I'll be honest, sometimes you sit here and you're adjusting things and you're like, yep, I think I can hear the difference. Yep, that sounds better. I know I should be doing this, but like really nothing's changing. Bloom is just really reactive and you can sort of like really hear what it's doing quickly and adjust it to your needs. You can get a true A/B, so it's clearer. It's night and day. To be able to like improve a mix this much in like 5 minutes is so valuable to me. You can kind of change a sound from making you feel one way to making you feel a completely other way. When they came and showed it to me, it was obviously like not released, and when they left with it, I felt like an absence. You know, I was like, you guys have got to send me like the beta because I like don't know if I can live without that anymore.